Jamie finally fell asleep. Are you hungry?
No, thanks.
Would you like a glass of wine, or...
I was just thinking. I wonder how many $20 bottles of Orsini Chardonnay Ted's had in his life. 0 to none. The ironic part is that his mother, Nola, personally taste tested every harvest.
Look, I know how much you're bothered by this. I know it's been something that's been hard...
Oh, you're bothered.
Dixie, what are you doing here?
So sorry to interrupt you when you're feeling sorry for yourself. Obviously, you're the only one that's been hit by all of this.
Did something happen since we left the hospital?
You were so sure that telling Michael the truth would just solve everything.
Did something happen?
Couldn't listen to me. No, you just had to throw the whole story right in his face.
Dixie, what's wrong?
Michael is missing.
What in the name of heaven are you doing here? Answer me. No one invited you onto my property or suggested that you point Langley's gun at me. What is going on in your head? Just because you married into this family doesn't give you the right to come barging into my cabin and to hold me at gunpoint. I mean, you can have 30 seconds exactly to tell me why I shouldn't call the police.
I didn't point the gun at you.
Well, is that your only explanation? Well, it's a good thing that I'm not armed, Tad Martin, or I'd show you a thing or two. Here you come back from the dead to wreak havoc on poor Brooke's life. That's bad enough. Now what am I supposed to do with this episode? Be grateful that you didn't pump me full of hot lead? What are you plotting now? Why are you here? How did you get here? I needed a quiet place to contemplate the terrible things that you have done to this family. Then I come here and I meet my nemesis, the bane of my existence. I've sensed danger ever since that fateful day that Brooke walked down the aisle with you. When Edmund left Erica's reception with Brooke, my heart took flight, only to crash and burn when I learned that it was just Edmund being the gentleman that he is, because he graciously withdrew the minute that you came home. Now, for the last time, I demand an explanation.
It's hard to give an explanation when you won't shut up.
I hope you're satisfied. I told you this wasn't a good idea. I asked you to please just give him some time to adjust.
Wait, just a second, all right? What do you mean the guy is gone? He just picked up and left?
He walked out of the hospital? What? Was he well enough to be released, or...
Well, I don't know. I certainly hope he was well enough to wander off and do whatever he wandered off to do.
I never thought he'd leave.
Well, in the 5 minutes that you told him his entire life story, he obviously didn't take it very well. What a surprise. After a shot in the arm like that, he could be anywhere.
All right, fine, then I'll help you look. Where have you checked so far?
Oh, you want to take over from now, is that it? Look, Dixie, Tad is as worried as you are.
Well, Tad is the reason this entire thing happened. I am sure Michael doesn't want to see his face again.
Well, as long as there are mirrors left in the world, I don't think he's got much of a choice.
Oh, what a wonderful time to make a joke, Tad.
If you didn't want our help, then why did you come to us in the first place?
I thought there might be a slim chance that he might come here. You know, he has a million questions, and unfortunately, Tad here is the answer man.
Look, I'm serious. You do think he will be all right, don't you?
I don't know. But I think it's a little late to ask that question. Maybe if you had just waited until he was back up on his feet. Maybe gone a little slower. Given him some time, we could have prepared him.
What do you mean, waited? You were there. You heard him. He demanded to know everything. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
Well, that's because you had to announce that you knew it all. Of course he wanted to know everything. He didn't know how bad this was going to be. But you did.
You know, I think laying blame, standing here around laying blame is not going to help this Michael.
Well, your great answer to everything was just to leave him alone. See how well that worked. See how great it is when Tad takes over.
Very amusing. I suppose I should have expected some cheap attempt at humor from Tad Martin and his infamous wit. Somehow it always managed to elude me. Now, tell me, why are you here, and what are you doing with that gun?
Needed cleaning.
Oh, and so you decided to launder it?
Well, you don't take care of a weapon like this, it'll hurt you.
Well, is this some new attempt at community service? Cleaning guns in summer homes? Poppycock. And why aren't you with Brooke?
You worry about Brooke, don't you?
You know how I feel about this marriage. I mean, I may have danced at your wedding, but every step made my heart ache.
Did anyone put a gun to her head?
You seem to be the only marksman in this family. Oh, I don't know why I'm even bothering talking to you. You only care about yourself. I could never reach you.
Try.
Well, I am not a stupid woman, Tad, nor unkind. I realize that you've been through a lot. In fact, in the beginning, I was very sorry for you. You have survived a terrible ordeal. I can imagine how you must have felt, how shattering it was to learn about little Jamie. So naturally, Brooke would seem a safe haven to you now. It's a classic psychological case. I could have forgiven you for marrying Brooke in desperation, even without loving her. But I can never forgive your marrying poor Brooke just to get back at Dixie.
Maybe next time you'll listen to someone else.
Do we really have to do this? I mean, this is not really your everyday run-of-the-mill situation, you know.
I'm perfectly aware of that. Thank
Maybe
you.
there is not a right way to tell this kind of information to somebody.
Why don't you just put yourself in Michael's shoes for 5 minutes? He is out there. He's alone. He's lost. He doesn't know his way around town. He could have a relapse.
By all means, let me help you find him.
No, thank you. I think you've done
Dixie,
enough.
just let me find him. I promise after that you can handle it any way you want.
You're not the only one who's concerned, Dixie.
You know, I really only came here to find out if Michael was here, since he's not.
Dixie, wait, look, before you go, there's some information that you should know.
No, thank you. I don't need any more of your free advice. You two go back to your perfect lives. I'll find Michael by myself.
I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry?
It's obvious you came here gunning for me.
I'm not upset about you and Dixie. I just think this is all very unfair.
When it comes to helping people, Dixie can't stop herself. Everything from stray dogs to little old ladies.
Look, I don't need you to explain Dixie to me. I understand Dixie perfectly. I understand Dixie, I understand Edmund, I understand your in-laws and my in-laws, I understand every poor soul in Pine Valley.
And what is it? What's wrong?
I just don't understand this. I don't understand why this is happening now. Why this man shows up now. This Michael Williams, this
Brooke,
Ted Orsini, whoever he is.
It's not his fault.
Well, whose fault is
He
it?
came here looking for answers. That's it. He can't help it if he got sick.
I know there's a logical explanation for all of this. I know that. I just sometimes feel, I don't know, I feel the same way that Opal feels.
God forbid. Say it isn't so.
That man has brought nothing but trouble. He's been nothing but bad news since our wedding day. And he just continues to bring bad news.
But not intentionally. Look, from everything I understand, this guy has had more than his fair share of sorrow in one life. I can't help but feel sorry for him.
Don't you dare, all right, don't you dare feel sorry for him. I don't want Dixie to make you feel this way. You didn't do anything to him, all right? You told him the truth. He deserved to know the truth.
More than that.
It's not... Look, you didn't take anything from him either. So don't start thinking that you and Nola, you both believed that you were her son. And as far as I'm concerned, you have been more than fair in this whole mess. And I'm sure you continue to be fair.
I wouldn't know how to start.
I think that you've been great. I'm proud of you.
What have I done other than force this guy to go running off into the hills screaming?
Well, I don't know. You went to the Orsini board of directors for one thing. You told them about this guy. I think that's a big step. You know, I don't want Dixie to walk in here and make you think that you're the villain in all of this. I mean, she acts like you're not affected by this at all, and I know how much that you are. I don't care about Ted Orsini. Forgive me, but I don't. I care about Natalie, I care about Trevor, and Amanda, and Timothy, and I care about Haley, and even Adam. I care about you, and I care about our son more than anything else in the world. But I don't give a damn what happens to Ted Orsini.
Still nothing to say for yourself. Well, I thought as much. You charmed Brooke all the way to the altar. And then you didn't even have the guts to call off the sham. And don't you try to deny it.
I'm not denying anything.
Oh, glib, always glib. I never could stand that. Couldn't then, and I can't now. My family has suffered enough at your hands. I watched Brooke go through the worst trauma that any mother could ever know, losing her little daughter. But all I ever wanted for her was happiness, real happiness. And then Edmund came along, and I thought my prayers had been answered. Oh, of course, they had their ups and downs, all couples do. But I know that Brooke's permanent happiness lies with Edmund Gray. But do you care about that? Oh, no. All you want is revenge against Dixie. Oh, that poor child. I don't know what'll happen to her. Against all odds and against all reason, she loves you. I would even guess that she loves you as much as Brooke loves Edmund. I thought that you had sunk as low as anybody could. But I'm mistaken. Now you have hit rock bottom. Well, I've said my piece. Now I shall depart. You can let yourself out. I'll have it fumigated after you leave.
You're here. Thank God.
Well, you've made me eat my words. I see that there are still lower depths that you have to plumb. Oh, this is abominable.
What's going on? What did you do?
It's inhuman. You haven't been married to Brooke for a month, and you're already carrying on with Dixie.
What?
Well, Dixie, you are a decent person. Do you realize what's happening? Don't you remember what happened the last time you got involved with one of Brooke's husbands? Oh, please tell me that this isn't happening. Tell me you're not having an affair.
No, I'm not. This isn't Tad.
Well, of course it's Tad.
No, it's not. Tad is in Pine Valley with Brooke.
Do you think I'm daft?
No. Really, I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. I couldn't tell her.
Is this some sort of a scheme to cover up your sordid carryings-on?
No. Call Brooke if you want to. Ask to speak to Tad.
Do you mean there are two of them? Oh, the gorge rises.
You didn't tell her?
What have I ever done to be punished this way?
Mrs. Wallingford, I'm so sorry. I know this is quite a shock. It's been for everyone. And, well, I hate to sort of drop the ball and run, but I really need to speak to my friend here. And so if it's okay with you, the car's across the lake and Lou's waiting outside with a boat.
I'll take the boat. You stay here.
Are you sure?
I need Langley.
I would hate to kick you out of your own cabin.
I couldn't sleep a wink after all that's gone on here without my husband's sheltering arms around me. So, good night.
You know, I think this is a first. I've never seen you smile before.
You knew where I was.
Well, yeah. This is a great place to run away to. I should know.
You knew what I was thinking. And came after me. That's the first two. Now, how you feel? Here you are praying for a miracle, thinking everything could possibly go wrong has, and before you know it, wham, another shot in the face.
I don't need life to be fair. I can deal with that. I just, don't want it to be heartless.
Listen, I'm sure that everything will look better tomorrow.
One night is not going to make me change my mind or make me feel differently about this guy.
And by all means, you want me to cancel his breakfast invitation?
How are you?
I'm okay.
You don't have to try and fool me, Ted. I know how this has been gnawing at you ever since you met him.
It's like looking in a funhouse mirror. It looks like you, but it doesn't do what you do.
It's one thing to have someone who's a look-alike. Unfortunately, this guy's a whole lot more.
Yeah, he is. And I wish to God that Nola were still around.
You know what I think you really wish? That this Michael could have known her, could have met her. But you don't have any control over that. Nobody could have had control over that.
Today I stood in that hospital room and I told another man that everything life meant for him is mine.
Nola wanted you to have that. You. Not her long-lost son.
Because she thought this was impossible. She worded her will the way she did so that nobody could challenge me from the outside.
Look, from what you told me, I think Nola knew exactly what she was doing when she wrote that will. Her estate was meant for the man who made her happy, who made her feel alive, who saved her vineyard, who was there for her when she died. It was all meant for you.
Not just that. I'm not just talking about the money or the will. Ted Orsini was born to two loving parents. And sure, they had a fortune, but they also had a home, an estate, a legacy for generations. Now look at him. Look at me.
I like what I see.
I was born dirt poor to Ray Gardner. He was born to Nola. There's nobody in the world with any sense that would have bet a dime that I would come out on top, that he'd be out there alone, and I'd be here for the family. On top of that, the poor guy's got to find out about his mother, about Nola now, after it's too late. Fate is truly twisted. I'm here with you and our son. And he's got nothing. Why?
Why? Good question.
Got an answer?
Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
You've been blessed with wonderful things in your life because you're a wonderful man who deserves them.
I do.
Yes.
I don't know about the wonderful part.
Trust me.
I don't know. You heard Dixie. She didn't make anything up. I blew it, and it's not the first time.
You didn't blow it.
I didn't have to tell him the truth so soon.
Look, if he demanded to know everything...
to know, I still didn't have to tell him. With all my years in double talk, I could have fed him a line. I could have given him a story. I could have, I could have done any number of things, and I didn't. I ran in like a bull in a china shop and did exactly what I said I was gonna.
Look, what does it matter, all right? Who's to say that he wouldn't have reacted the same way if you had told him this 2 weeks from now? Or that even if you had prepared him, that he would have had the same reaction? Or even if you could have prepared him for this?
It doesn't matter. I had all the facts. I knew everything. I should have handled it differently.
Dixie came over here to make you feel rotten, and it worked.
Dixie wouldn't do that.
Maybe not the Dixie that you knew, but the Dixie now, she's been hurt too many times. She talked to you like you were Junior. You stayed up past your bedtime. You know, she didn't even give me a chance to tell her about the accident.
I think she was a little more upset about Michael than she was with me.
Fine. All right, I'm sorry that she's so upset about this. But just because she blames you, it is not your fault.
He didn't run away because of Dixie.
He ran away because of me, because of what I said to him.
We don't know why he ran away. He didn't leave a note. You know, maybe he had a job to go to or a life to go back to. Did Dixie ever think about that? Maybe he got all the answers that he wanted or that he needed, or he decided that he'd done enough damage and he left. Look, we know virtually nothing about this man. We don't know what he's thinking. And Dixie doesn't either.
She knows better than we do.
You know what? She's using this to put you through the ringer.
Do you really think she'd do that?
What? Look at what her life has been, and look at what she has to look forward to. She didn't come over here looking for this Michael. She came over here because she's furious at you for marrying me. Don't you know that? Dixie is still in love with you, Tad.
I started to pass out. Dixie took care of me. And the whole time she held my hand and she kept telling me what a fool she was. How much she wanted you back.
Well, guess who that was? Dixie. Dixie found him.
Is he okay?
Yeah. And if he's not, I'm sure she'll be able to handle it. Do you think that you can finally get some rest?
After I take care of one more problem.
Tell me, do I really want to hear this?
I've been giving a lot of thought. And I don't know how. But one way or another, I'm going to make it up to Ted.